Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Welcome back. I missed y'all. I have some ladies that are going to join me on the panel. But before I do that, I want to welcome others who are in the chat, and then I'll introduce my panel. So, the first person that I see, thank you, Joe, is Miss Buckeye. Then I see Janice and my peer SBK. Happy Thursday to all of you. Thank you for coming to the live. I missed y'all and I appreciate all of you. So I'm going to introduce everybody. Well, y'all see Shanice is on here.
Hello.
Hey, Shanice. I wish you had stayed backstage so I could introduce you properly, but since you didn't, we're just going to flow with it.
Happy
So,
Thursday. Hey, y'all.
happy Thursday. So, let me introduce the first person that's going to join the panel. And I'm going to go by the order that I see on my screen. So, the first person is Bond's Reality. Y'all,
Oh, she can hear me.
she should hear you now. You there, Bond? Are you there, Bond? I see you, but I don't hear you. Okay. You're muted. Can you hear Vaughn? You may have to go out and come back again. So let's go move to the next person. Our next person is I Said What I Said. Hey sis, can you hear?
I can. Hello, everybody.
Okay. Welcome. Thank you. And then we have Joe. Thrive and Glow with Joe. Hey
Hello,
Joe, how are you?
I'm good. Sorry.
Good.
How is everyone doing? Hi, I said what I said. Hello, everyone in the chat.
Hey, Joe.
We missed you. We missed you, Miss Alice.
Oh, I missed y'all too. Thank y'all for joining the panel. I'm not done. I have some more people to introduce. Let's see. We have my sis Charlie's Angel. Want y'all to give her a warm welcome. And now let's try to see if we can hear Vaughn. Vaughn, you there?
Can y'all hear me now?
We hear you now, country
I
girl.
I was finna
Hello.
say,
I don't know what happened
hi.
to Shanice, y'all. I guess she'll be back. But thank you all for joining the panel.
Hey y'all.
Hey, Bon.
I missed y'all. Hey y'all. Hi Miss Alice. I missed you. Look, okay, I'm
Oh,
be
don't
cool.
start screaming in our ears.
Please don't. Hey, Jamila.
I missed y'all.
Before we get started, I'm going to give Shanice a few more minutes to try to come back. But before we get started, I see Jamila is in the chat. And so I want to mention this before I go ahead. Y'all know Jamila is raising her granddaughter. And so her granddaughter has a birthday on Saturday. Now, Jamila doesn't give out she doesn't like to give out her cash app. So if y'all want to bless her granddaughter for her birthday, which is Saturday, and you don't have her cash app, feel free to send it to me and I'll make sure that she gets it. Okay? Thank
Yes, ma'am.
y'all. Hey, Wanda, welcome back. How are you? So, Charlie's Angel, can you hear me? Or you have let me add you and take you off from the other one. Can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, I remove you from the other one. Let's see. Okay, Shanice is back. So, yes, Jamila. Yes, that's what I'm going to do, Jamila. Let me make sure nobody else came in before I go on. Vaughn said, please share the live. Shanice, can you do me a favor and highlight some of the comments? So today, y'all, we're going to talk about women, since it's Women's History Month. And the question is, what does women's history mean to you? But what I'm going to do, this is kind of different today. So what I'm going to do is I am going to read today's scripture verse, or verse as my girl Joe would say. And it's coming from Proverbs 31, verse 10. And this is the King James Version. And it says, who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. So what I want to say is, most of the time when we think about women's history or any recognition that we have for the month, we think of certain people. But you don't have to be a movie star or an artist or anyone famous to contribute to history. And so a lot of times when someone passes, what we tend to do is we highlight those that a lot of people, if most people, if not most people, know. And there have been a lot of stars, what we call stars, passing away in the last year or so. And so we know those people. But there are everyday women who we should celebrate, women who may not make the headlines. You may not see their obituary anywhere for whatever reason. Could be because the family couldn't afford to pay for the obituary. But some of these women have been instrumental in our lives. And so what I wanted to do today was talk about some of the women who have made an impact in our lives. So I'm going to go in order, and I'm going to start with I said what I said. What do you have to say about that, sis?
Well, you're absolutely right. It's a lot of women that does a lot of things that don't get any type of recognition from the public. Sometimes they don't get recognition from their family or their friends, but they contribute a lot to society. They contribute a lot to their families, and they contribute a lot to their jobs. Most of the time, in my opinion, women contribute to their family and their jobs more than anything, and they're always overlooked, um, especially if they're up in age. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these employers will have an older person, an older woman that knows her job, because let's just keep it real. If you're Gen Z or if you're a baby boomer, you're definitely, whatever job you have, you're putting in 110%. And that's not to discount any of the other groups, but our generations were taught to go out there and be the best that we could be, and do and give 100+% in anything that you do. And so, if you're working and you know your job well, a lot of times employers will have you train someone that's younger than you,
Mm-hmm.
and then they may even possibly put that person over you, and just kind of scoot you to the side, because you're up in age. And they do that because um, they feel like that you could be a potential liability to the company. So more than likely, they're going to scoot you on out the door. You know,
Yeah.
before it's time for you to retire, or if something happens and you happen to get sick or whatever. A lot of times, they'll just go ahead and eliminate your job and give it to the younger person. But yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a lot of women that contribute a lot, and they get no recognition at all.
So let me ask you: is there a particular woman or um, multiple women who may have made an impact in your life that you wanted to highlight?
Yeah, I would say my mom. She made a great impact on me. She taught me everything that I know. She was a great example as a mother. She worked very extremely hard, on her job, and she worked extremely hard to make sure that we had, not the, we had some of the best things in life, and that we had a good life. I never remember a time where we were hungry or our lights were turned off or we didn't have food in home. And I'm pretty sure it was a struggle for her to, make that happen, but she made it look easy. And so, yeah, I salute my mom. I salute my grandmothers who actually had an impact in my life, and even some of my great aunts had an impact in my life. So, really, it was kind of like a village that kind of raised all of us. So, yeah, all three of those ladies. And I'm speaking of my auntie that just passed away recently. She
Mm-hmm.
made a great impact. She didn't have any children, but she touched each and every one of our lives in one way or other, especially when we were young.
Okay, great. Yeah, it takes a village. It really does. Um, I think we have the privilege, and I'll say, when I say we, I mean us older women. We have the privilege of having more of a village in our lives growing up. I know I did. So let me go to Joe, Thrive and Glow with Joe. What you have to say, Joe?
Hello, hello, hello. First of all, I want to thank you for having me here. I want to thank you for even thinking about me and being here. I want to say hello to everyone on the panel, everyone in the chat. And I really want to commend you for doing this because it's very true. I agree with I say what I said. And you women do get overlooked in a lot of ways. I'm not saying just women, of course, men too, but this is about the
Right.
women.
Right.
So I just want to mention that. But in my life, I'm probably going to say, I was hoping you would put me closer to the end, but I'm going to say the things I'm going to say are probably not going to be very popular for the woman of today. But I'm going to say it because it's really how I feel. Um, I give honor. When I was thinking about this, I didn't know what you were going to ask us to answer or to speak on. I just knew your title. But I
Mhm.
really did think about my grandmother. Not everyone knows my history or my story, and I don't like to share it all the time because it's nothing that I use as a crutch or as a stepping stone, other than I'm the woman today because of my history, right? And
Right.
so the women in my life were my grandmother, my aunt, my guardian angel, which was my stepmother. And but those women really left a legacy that the women that are no longer here, they left a legacy for me to mimic not only when they were here, but also when um, they've been gone, right? And they left a legacy for me to try to even better, right? Even if I don't want to necessarily be like all of them, I'm trying to be better than them, and they left an example, right?
Hmm.
Um, and for example, my grandmother is the main one. She ran a business, she ran her family, she raised not only her own 8 children, but also additional children that were either born out of wedlock of her own marriage or raised other siblings, children, because they didn't do it on their own. They chose not to. And so she raised literally and raised other kids that were friends of sibling or of her own kids, literally in and out of her house, raised them, not to mention me and my uh, siblings. So, and I know that that would not be popular today. A lot of the things that she did to or sacrificed to do, it wouldn't be popular because of this feminist movement that people talk about, oh, think about yourself, think about you, go do everything for you, and in which I'm not downing, because I speak on that too, because we have to fill our own cup in order to
Hmm.
be the best we can for everyone else. So I completely understand that, but that's not the message that is given today. The message that's given today is to go do you, right? And
Right.
and and they supersede or they oversee the legacy that I want to leave. And I think I think about those things because I've done a lot of the similar things. I've made a lot of sacrifices for my children, for my extended children that I have and that I love and I call my own. I would never call them my stepchildren, my anything. They're my children. And but I was only blessed to carry one on this earth, into this earth, right? But I have a lot of children that I see as my children. So I guess I tend to look at it as I've been blessed to do that. And because I want them to be able to see the example that I'm leaving one day when I'm no longer here. I want to be that legacy for them. And if I'm here just thinking about me, 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 then there's no legacy being left. And I think that that's what women today need to think about. It's we all have an expiration date. That's something nobody can dispute. We have an expiration date, and what are you going to leave behind when you're no longer here? And that's what I want to give that message out, because whatever you do now, it's not only about you. It's about what you're leaving behind and what example you're doing and making for once you're gone.
Absolutely. I agree. And I could definitely relate. I'm not going to talk about my grandmother right now, but I can definitely relate, especially when it comes to grandmothers. So, did you have anything else you wanted to add, Joe? Did you have anything else you wanted to add before I go on?
No, no, I just wanted to leave that message, but thank you so
Okay.
much. I was losing you, and that's why I didn't hear what you asked before that.
Okay.
But
Well, thank
I hope
you.
I hope it made
We're
sense.
gonna have more of a discussion. I just want to hear what
Okay.
everybody has to say. So, next person I'm going to bring is Vaughn. So, Vaughn, what does women's history mean to you? And is there anyone that you want to highlight today?
Uh, what does women's history mean to me? Well, if I'm being totally honest, women's history, I'm gonna be honest, I know a little something about it, well, I know a lot actually. Um, I guess you could say there are some things that are important to me in women's history, of course, because of how outspoken I am today, right? Because, without a lot of the movements, for women's rights, I wouldn't be able to be Vaughn. But
Hmm.
if I had to, highlight anybody, it would be my mom, um, and of course her mom, my grandmother. But I will highlight her because it's funny when you were reading the scripture earlier, Proverbs. I was like, oh, okay, okay, I see where she's going. Yeah, this is my mom. But yeah, I will highlight my mom because I feel like well, oh, actually, what I wanted to say was actually kind of what Joe was saying. What I have to say really isn't popular because if I said that women were overlooked, um, I can't say that for me personally because my mother's side of the family really is like all women. um, my mom was even though she was married, at one point she was a single mom. And then even for my grandmother, even though she's married, she was a single mother. And then, my great grandmother, she never married. And in my life, those women like were always there. And I'm not saying like, their husbands weren't there, but for the times where it was just us, they were all I knew. And they played a really big part in like my upbringing and kind of how I view the world. So because I saw them being like super women and smart, they were themselves, like they really weren't like under a guy or like a man. So like how we say it now. I mean, well, how things were before the women's rights movement and stuff. Um, they were just them. And um so when it's like, are women overlooked, it's for me, it's like, well, that's all I know is to uplift and encourage other women and to cheer other women on because that's what I grew up seeing, like literally. I seen my mom, be a good friend to her friends be good friends to her. There was the village of raising my brothers and sisters and my mom, taking care of other people's kids and even like our friends like that would come to our house. And then there was my grandma who, even though she only had two kids, she was a part of a village of bringing up other kids that in 2026 are known as my aunts and uncles. So it's like I don't, me personally, I feel like I kind of have a different perspective than what most people would say, because in my reality, the women around me, us, are always like being awarded, or not awarded, what's the word? Highlighted. There we go. Highlighted in some type of way of, oh, I seen you go from, this to that, or you are always doing this and that, or, I'm so proud of the person that you become. But yeah, so if I had to highlight anybody, it would be my mom, because like I said, she plays a really, really big part in who I am today. Um, growing up, things that she taught me, things that she still teaches me. And I think she's a good influence on really anybody that she comes across. And I'm not just saying that because she's my mom. Like, I actually see her being influence on other people. And it's like it's cool to watch, because I think she's great. And yeah.
So yeah, when it comes to your mother, I've had the pleasure of of not meeting your mother in person, but talking to her, communicating with your mother, and I believe that your mother is definitely a great example of a virtuous woman. Um, so yeah, I can appreciate you saying all of those things, and I also want to kind of elaborate on single mothers. A lot of times, single mothers get a bad rap. Now, there are some single mothers who could definitely um, improve, but we have to also keep in mind that nobody's perfect. And maybe they're not what we would deem as virtuous women at the moment. But as long as you are breathing, there's still hope for you. That's what I believe. And so, um, single women who aren't necessarily what we would deem a role model, if we see that, instead of criticizing them, if we don't have anything good to say, why don't those of us who know how to communicate with God just simply pray for those women? And somebody said um, about being a good example. I'm not sure if it was Joe, but somebody said that we can learn even for those women who aren't necessarily getting it right, we can still learn from them. Because people teach us either way. They teach us as being a positive role model or a negative role model, but either way, we're learning from them. So thank you, Vaughn, for acknowledging your mother and your grandmother. And last but definitely not least, I want to bring up Charlie's Angel. Hey, sis, how are you?
Hey, hey, I am well. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you.
Uh, so women's history. That was new on me. Um, but just like Vaughn, I would have to highlight my mother, and I have a few of them. My mother, both of my grandmothers, and two great aunts. My mother was a single mother. She raised me and my sister, and just watching her throughout life, no matter what the struggle was, she never gave up on anything. Like, um, just watching her for 9 years working this one job. She walked to work for 9 years. She refused to ask for rides to work. She prayed. She talked to God a lot, and she was blessed with a car with like it, they gave it to her for like a used car price, and it pretty much was brand new, like brand new. um just watching her dedication, watching how she worked that same job for 35 years, um she always taught us to keep our chins up, our heads up. Don't let what people say bother you. um Always to carry yourself with grace, even from the way that you walk, with your head up, your shoulders back, with a little sway in your hips, not too much. Um, that being, it was just as important to be smart and intelligent, to use your intelligence, and not just be, pretty. She drove that home, getting those school books, know what you need to know. She taught us even, being careful about our surroundings, and um, how to have good judgment with other people. Um, she was just wise at all times. It was scary sometimes how wise that woman was is, and even taking care of other people's children. Like, it didn't matter whether it was a friend or just somebody in the neighborhood that was having a hard time with their own parents. They just seemed to kind of navigate towards her, and she would give the best wisdom. And it didn't matter if a person was strung out and ostracized, in the neighborhood. She would be the person that would feed them, wash their clothes, let them take a shower and stuff, let them get some rest, and minister to them. So my mother definitely, and then my grandmother, once again a single woman. But when I tell you, this lady's work ethic was out of sight. Would put most men to shame in that regard of I mean, pristine work ethic. And she imparted a lot of wisdom. She was very caring, and she nurtured me in my inquisitiveness. I was very inquisitive, and there was no question I could ask her that she wouldn't answer and take me to a book. She always taught me to, go look it up. And just the strength in watching her throughout her life. And she just had like this cool, calm, kind of laid back attitude about things, and and she was a jokester. She would crack a joke in a minute. And then I have two of my favorite great aunts that I watched raise like 12 and 15 kids. And on top of that, had no problem with the greats, nieces and nephews being around, and just learning how to sew and cook, and just getting that wisdom from them, and watching, like kind of like what Vaughn said, all of these women weren't necessarily overlooked. And in our little town, they were actually celebrated because they were the matriarchs. They were the mothers, they were the caregivers. Um, One of my great aunts, you could never walk in her house and there was not something on the stove to eat. And that's something we don't even think about or do that nowadays. But that was one of the most wonderful things ever. You could just walk in there and sit down and have a cup of her little special tea, as she called it. And all it was tang and and cinnamon. But back then, that was a big deal. You had special tea, and you talked life out. You heard a lot of their stories, and they just taught so much. So those would be the ladies that I would highlight. And they changed a lot of lives.
That is great. And I want to say something when you were talking about your mother. Um, but those still have um, that still have your mother, I think that that is a wonderful thing to still be blessed to have your mother here on earth. and a part of your life. So those who still have your mother, them, nobody's perfect. Um, I think that when we see our mothers and some of our grandmothers, we tend to kind of look at them. We know they're not perfect, but a lot of times they are as close to perfect that we have come across. So it's a blessing to still have your mother. And if you have your grandmother, you are definitely blessed abundantly. Fortunately for me, fortunately, but unfortunately as well, um, my mother, I've shared that my mother passed when I was 4 years old. So my mother has been gone for a long time. But in those 4 years, I learned from my mother. Now, I didn't know that I was learning when I was that young. I didn't realize that that my mother was teaching me things. But one thing that she taught me was patience, and she taught me to be content in whatever was going on in my life. I never heard my mother complain. I have so many, still have memories of my mother, and it's actually, it would be 60 years that my mother has been gone. Next year will be 60 years. But I still have those memories, and she's taught me so many things. And then my mother she was a single mother. So at the age of 4, I wasn't thinking about that. I was just used to my mother and my grandmother. And my great grandmother was there for a while as well. My grandmother, she was a widow, and my grandfather, her husband, passed a year and 15 days before I was born, so I never met him. I never met any grandfathers, but my mother and my grandmother were definitely a major part of my life. And I've said it before, and I'll continue to say it, that I got to spend more time with my grandmother. And so my grandmother, she was the first person that taught me about the Lord. Um, I didn't necessarily, in the beginning, I didn't necessarily, know what it was all about, but she was teaching me. She was one of those train up a child in the way they should go. And so I told y'all stories about my grandmother. I'm not going to go over them again, but my grandmother, even though she's been gone for over 50 years, she taught me a lot too. So I'm just saying, I just want to say that if you still have your mother and your grandmother, you are definitely, definitely blessed. Cherish those women in your life who have made a difference. Maybe it's not your mother or your grandmother. Maybe it is an aunt. Maybe it's a cousin. Maybe it's a godmother. But those women who make a difference in your life, you should always cherish them, because none of us came here to stay. I think that's what Joe said. None of us came here to stay, and one day we're all going to be gone. So thank God for those women. And even if you were adopted, thank God for the woman who brought you to into this world, and thank God for the one who raised you. So I have Abril has joined y'all. Wait a minute, Abril, before I bring you up, let me give you an So Abril is here, y'all. Abril, what would you like to add to the conversation about what women's history means to you and what women have impacted your life?
Hi, everybody. So my mom, most definitely, who's my angel now, has given me the greatest impact. She raised me in the church, and she was only 5'1", but she was a drill sergeant in the army, and she served 28 years. She was a little Puerto Rican black, powerful little lady. She never really said much, but everything that she said was very meaningful. So she raised me to be very respectful and carry our family name. And I have so many lessons that I have now that, especially in raising my kids, that I look back and I'm so grateful for the things that she has taught me. They didn't mean much when she was telling me that. I always thought that I knew more than she knew. But now that I look back, I understand that everything she was telling me was for my own good, and they mean a lot to me now. Um, One of the biggest lessons that she taught me was never put yourself above or below anyone, because in a blow of a circumstance, you could be them, whether it's disabled, poor, rich, whatever. Never minimize or elevate yourself above anyone. So those lessons were the type of lessons that she taught me. And I miss her a lot, and I'm grateful for her. Her and my grandmother. My mom wasn't raised by her mother. She was raised by her grandmother, which was my great grandmother. And my mom had brought her great grandmother up to Seattle before she passed, and she passed at 94 years old. And she was a powerhouse. And she was, again, a saved woman. She was very little, very sweet, didn't say a lot. But again, I was her favorite. So the lessons that she taught me were just things that I'll never, ever forget. Now that I don't have either of them, I have been blessed to have my mother-in-law, who is also very prayed up. And although she's in Georgia, she has been my rock through a lot of situations. And she's prayed me through a lot of things, and I'm very grateful for her. Um, Sometimes I get very emotional thinking about the gifts that you get that you don't know you have, even including you, Miss Alice. Um, I said what I said, all the ladies that are around me on YouTube and in real life, my sisters, my best friends, all the women that are around me are very, very powerful. I'm surrounded by a lot of queens, and I'm very grateful for them. So thank you for all the ladies that are around me that are a part of my tribe. And yeah, that's how I feel about women's history. My history, that is.
Thank you, Abril. I think a lot of us can relate to that woman who instilled the love of God in us. And sometimes when we're younger, yes, Wanda, it is wonderful to have praying family and friends. Sometimes when we're younger, we don't necessarily appreciate what our elders are teaching us. And I was definitely one of those who at one point thought that I knew better, you know, especially I guess at those teenage years. I thought that I knew better than a lot of adults. But because of what my grandmother did in my life, even as a young girl, some of the things that she taught me they stayed with me. And even though I strayed, those things, there was a line that I never crossed because of my grandmother, because I always knew that my grandmother was watching me, and I didn't want my grandmother to be disappointed in me. So thank you, Abril. I'm so glad that you had those wonderful women in your life. And it is great also to have a wonderful mother in law.
Yes. Yes. And
Bonus.
the watching thing, Miss Alice, when you said that, that just hit my heart, because when I'm out in the world and I'm doing stuff, I don't know about you, but I do know because you just said it. I often think about what am I doing, and am I making a good name of my mom? Like every action that I make, I'm like, oh my goodness, is she going to be proud of me, or am I
Hmm.
embarrassing her legacy? And that's like so huge to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you for saying that part.
Hey there, beautiful sinner. Happy Thursday. Yeah, that's that. When the Bible tells us, I think that's Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old, they will not depart from it. That is so true. We can see it in our children. What did you have to say, Joe?
I was
Joe,
just
did you
going
have?
to, yeah, I was just going to agree with that. That is, I wanted to mention, a lot of you mentioned, that's how you were brought up, and you mentioned, you give thanks for those that brought you. And I had never, honestly, I have to share, I told you I have my history, but I've never really thought of it that way. I knew that I forgave those that just gave up on me. But
Hmm.
I do, as you mentioned, I do give thanks for those that brought me on this earth, and then those that picked up the baton, so to speak, right? And
Right.
and and helped me along the rest of the of my time on this earth. And I thank you for mentioning that, because even though I knew I forgave, I never thought of it that way, and that really resonated with me, because I do have to thank God for that also, right? And I do. But you just saying it just made all of the world, it made sense to me. And so I do give thanks for that.
Hmm.
Thank you for
Yeah.
mentioning it.
Oh, you're welcome. Even with my mother passing when I was 4, I have to think about, had my mother not had me, even though she left when I was 4 years old, had she not given birth to me, I wouldn't be here. My children wouldn't be here, my grandchildren. So there, God had a reason for allowing that to happen. So I'm thankful for that as well. Thank you for sharing, Joe. So does anybody else have anything else you might want to add to the conversation? I said what I said.
Yeah, I want to add something, and I don't know why this lady keep coming up in my mind. I know why, but she actually made a pretty big impact on me, and it was my Sunday school teacher when I was a kid. And I always felt like I didn't like her because she seemed like she was so mean to us when we were in Sunday school. And the only reason why I say that is because if you spoke out of term or she didn't give you permission to speak or whatever, she would actually spank your hand, right? But she taught us a lot in Sunday school about church and God. And she was one of the people that taught me that my sins were not my own sins, and that my sins were on my parents until I became a teenager. And so when I would act up or what have you, because you have when you're a kid, you think about God a different type of way, and you know you have him in a different mindset when you're a kid. And it was almost as if I had another parent kind of watching me, when my mom wasn't around. I was always aware that, she always let us know that God see everything that you do. And so that just kind of stuck with me as a little young child. And I'm talking about 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up until I was a teenager. I always thought about him as somebody that was also watching me, other than my physical, the people that's on the physical earth. And so I remember when I would act up or when I would do something that I knew wasn't right, I always say what Miss Sanders said, that it's not on me, so I can just go ahead and do this. It was kind of like she kind of gave me permission to be bad because it wasn't going to count against me.
Uh-huh.
But and I just never forgot. I just never forgot that lady in my mind. And I even left home and was gone for 30 years, but I never forgot about my Sunday school teacher. And she taught us a lot of things about Jesus. She was like one of my very first teachers, as far as me learning about the church and learning about God. But till this day, I still think about Miss Sanders for some reason. She made a great impact on me, but I always said I didn't like her because all the kids, really, we all thought she was mean. If we didn't get our Easter speech right, she would, how you pierce your lips and point
Hmm.
at us and, threaten us or whatever. So we were kind of afraid of her, but she also taught us about Jesus, and she allowed us to color, and if we didn't go outside the lines or whatever, we would get our little cookies and juice after church, after Sunday school. But if we didn't do it right, then you didn't get any snacks. And so I just want to give shout out to Miss Sanders because she have made an impact, and I'm almost 60 years old now, and I still think about that lady till this day. And she's no kin to me, no relation to me or anything. But even when I go to church now, it's like I still feel her presence at that church, and she's been gone for over 20 years. And I also wanted to say, we have a lot of women, um, that are ancestors. They got no credit, not no credit at all, because before the 1970s, women wasn't even revered as anybody. You know,
Right.
we were like what the slave owners thought of black people, so in so many ways. You couldn't have a credit card. If you wanted to leave your home or what have you, if your husband, if you had a bad relationship and you decided you wanted to up and leave, it's not like it is today. You had to leave your kids there. In some states, you couldn't even take your
Hmm.
children with you. And Aretha Franklin was part of that generation.
Yeah.
When her mom had to leave her, and Ray Charles also. And so but it was a lot of women that came before us that actually had to walk a lot of hard lines, and they had to break a lot of barriers in order for us to live the type of lives that we do today. So a lot of those women are looked over also. And yeah, we had women in the civil rights, but they're kind of famous, and people have written about them, but they didn't write about the ones that wasn't, marching with Martin Luther King or what have you.
Right.
It was just the everyday, woman that held the family together, and make sure, because in actuality, the women are the ones who actually raised the families, because the men were out working. So the women had
Right.
to basically take care of the whole household and raise generation after generation. So I feel like that they're not recognized either.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when it comes to that scripture about your sins being on your parents,
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that interpretation. Now,
Well, that's what she told us, So, I never looked it up or anything, but that's what she was like. Your sins, and you don't have to worry about anything, because your sins they're on your parents until you become a teenager, because you're not really old enough. And
uh,
so, I ran with that.
uh of course.
I just
Of
I,
course.
I just wanted to piggyback off of what I said just said. Oh, that was cute. Anyway, um, my father's mother raised 11 children in that era that um I said was speaking about, and all 11 of them were raised in the projects. My grandmother did stuff like sewing and worked a lot at the church that was across the street from them. So they didn't have a lot and everything, but I mean every last one of her children own their own home and are successful and educated, and she did that alone. She was a single mother of 11 children, and just that in itself, and to train them up right, um is a feat in itself. When she passed, I want to say she had 40 some odd grand, and then great grands was somewhere in the 80s. And just a legacy. And she did not finish school. Her mother died when she was really young, and she was raised by two uncles or cousins or something like that, in some pretty bad conditions. And when she was in her mid 60s, she went back and got her um, diploma, and she went to take college classes. And no, she's not famous by far, but that lady made a really big impact on the world. Just raising 11 successful children on her own is a feat.
Yes, I agree.
Most definitely kudos to her for raising 11. Whew, that's a lot.
Now that's a testimony.
It is. When I said that's a lot, I mean that's a lot of children. Um, because some people have a hard time with one or two, but 11, then that is definitely, like you said, definitely a blessing. I think that God definitely had his hands on her because I couldn't see me doing that. And that's the thing about women also. We don't need to compare ourselves to other women because whatever God has for us is for us. And I believe that we should celebrate one another. It's no need for us to be jealous or envious. And you can admire another woman. I definitely admire that grandmother with 11 children being a single mother. I definitely admire her, but in no way would I be jealous. If anything, I'm going to celebrate her because I just don't see me doing that. And there are a lot of things that I see other women doing that I just know that was something that God had for them, not for me. But I celebrate all women, even those women who aren't necessarily great role models. Like I said, you can still learn something from them and pray for them. Just continue to keep those women in your prayers because we all have a past, and some of our past, if we were to be honest, some of our past is not something that we are necessarily proud of. And so sometimes when we look, when we, sometimes when we see other young ladies not necessarily doing the right thing in our eyes, we can look down on them. But instead of doing that, like I said, pray for them, because today they have the internet, they have phones with cameras, and they have all kinds of things that you can catch people doing some crazy things. But we really should thank God that there were no cameras and all that when we were coming up, no internet, no social media when we were coming up, because some
Amen.
of us, huh,
Mhm.
we would be shamed. So don't look down on anyone. If anything, we should pray for them and celebrate each other. Anybody else? Anybody else want to say something?
I pray that we continue to celebrate each other as women. I enjoy watching, especially in our tribe, we always celebrate each other. And that's something that is very, very, that fulfills my soul a lot. And like I said, I pray we continue to do that. And I pray that we continue to make an example of celebrating each other so that it becomes contagious. Because when you look around the internet, we see so many times that we see other queens just tearing each other down. And it's so nasty to watch. And so I appreciate when I look and watch our tribe, how we always stay in support of each other, and we look out for each other, and we stay in encouraging each other. I wanted to say to all of us that continue to stay in that mind frame, thank you, because it does matter.
It truly does. I have to add to that. It truly does. And the fact that they tear each other down or whatever, just it's one of those where I just feel like I envision myself just standing at peace, be still in the middle of the chaos, because one day we'll have even more chaos than we have today. And we have to be grounded. We have to stand with 10 toes down in our faith, in our everything we're building now, to be able to just allow that chaos to just go around us, because it'll go around us. But we have to be strong in our foundations. And that's what we need to build now to be able to make it then. So I
Hmm.
agree with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I am gonna piggyback off of Brill and Joe. Um, I think today, and I'm literally talking about today. Um, today, um, before Miss Allison went live, I actually had the privilege of being around supportive women before I came up here. And I would just like to say, me personally, y'all know I'm like have like a little journey and stuff. Um, you feel like, and it's for me it is baby steps, even though I'm sure someone would just like to push me into the water. But it is baby steps, like rebuilding, myself as a woman, but also building and well, not building, but encouraging and building a sisterhood with other women. Um, I've been described as like a cheerleader, um, and I that can be like in a negative way, right? Like, you always cheerleading behind somebody, but I've found a place where, and I'm not talking about on the internet. I'm literally talking about like within myself and being around other encouraging people. I've found a place where I can be like encouraging my like for myself and other people, and it's a positive thing, and it's to like build the body, well, not build the body of Christ, but be a part of the body of Christ is what I'm trying to say. And I think it's really cool. I like it because it really seems more natural to me. And I just encourage like all women, like, find you like a soft place to land and not just like, you know, because like when you get together with your friends, you're like, kiki, you having fun and stuff, but like really find you a place to just be able to be yourself in a positive way, where you got like literally iron sharpening iron. You're encouraging each other for the better, you're building each other up for the better, you're praying for each other for the better, you're there if your sister or your mom, your friend, your grandma needs a shoulder to cry on, like you're really there. And I just wanted to say that I've like I said, I grew up around that, but becoming a being a part of that in my own family, like, you know, being like an adult female, y'all, is really it hits different, because you kind of like your eyes are open and you're seeing why we need each other for real. And you're also seeing why you have to, be strong within yourself too, and why, you need to be there for other people as well too. And I know I'm like all over the place, y'all, but I ain't got my words, but I just wanted to say that like it is really important, especially because of the way everything is going like in this world, like with the gas prices and the food. And I was watching the news, and then here in Illinois, they raising the mail prices for like priority mail. My point is that everything is kind of like going crazy around us, and I think as women we just really need to stick together and support each other and be there for each other. And even for the, especially for, I'm going to say, the kids, like with having villages and being there, like if your girlfriend or somebody is like a single mom, try to reach out and like be there for them, you know.
I agree.
I agree
Yeah,
with that
definitely.
also. I wanted to say also too, I get accused of being in the middle too much, and it's because I always try and find a bright spot in whatever situation. Um, because if you're gonna just look at people as a person, everybody have good and bad in them, right? And sometimes people, would exemplify, the worst part of them more than they will the good part of them, depending on what the situation is, especially on social media. A lot of time people latch out and, they act their worst because they're behind a keyboard, or they just on a screen, and you can't actually physically, touch that person or what have you. You have to just watch them or either just listen to them, right? But everybody, you can always find a bright spot in no matter what situation that you're in. And I really kind of just been like that my whole entire life. And I was on a panel the other night, and one of the subscribers, and then I just thought it was so funny, because the subscriber said, well, I said what I said, I always try to find a bright spot. She always try to give everybody the benefit of the doubt, or try to find a bright spot in a bad situation. But in every situation, there is a bright spot, even when you're going through a hard time, or when you're going through something terrible. It's always still a bright spot, because at the end of the day, sometimes, I feel like God allow us to go through things just so we can come out on the other side stronger. So, sometimes life do get hard. Sometimes it does get tough. But in my opinion, the bright spot is God always give you strength to get through it. You may not get over it, but He'll definitely give you strength to get through with whatever it is that you're going through. And
Amen.
Hmm.
and so and I, I've experienced that several times, over and over and over again. And when I first started experiencing, extreme hard times, it was very difficult for me to find a bright spot. But some kind of way, he still gave me the strength to keep pushing through, to keep looking
Hmm.
forward, and to keep moving on and to keep, to keep my head up. And so I think everything happened for a reason. And I feel like you should try to learn a lesson in whatever it is that you go through in your life. And even if somebody is trying to tear you down or talk about you or try to make you feel bad about yourself or whatever, you still should be able to find a bright spot within that person. Because the whole thing about
Amen.
it is, it doesn't matter what people say about you, it doesn't matter what they call you. What matters is what you answer to, and what and how you react to whatever it is that they're saying, if you react at all. And
Mhm.
Come on.
I learned a long time ago not to even react to people, and to, I
Mhm.
learned that make people more mad than anything. If I just let you go on and on and on and on, and I don't say a word, and I just look at you, and
Mhm.
most of the time that take people, it throw them off their game, and they kind of feel stupid, after a while, because if they're constantly turn you down, and you never say a word, and you never try to defend yourself, because I know a lot of people, oh, I got to defend myself. No, you don't.
Absolutely.
You do not have to defend everything, that you do not have to respond to everything, and you do not have to defend yourself, especially when people are scandalizing you or either lying on you. You don't have to defend that, because that's not who you are anyway.
It is
Exactly.
so much more peaceful. I want to add something to what I said. What I said. She said when someone this is what I mean when I say certain things feel more natural to me. Like more like I'm gonna say certain positive things because it ain't all. I'm be honest now, but I have like this thing where like um like even if I'm mad at a person or like and I can really not like you, but there's like something. Well, first let me repeat what she said. So she said like even if somebody's like tearing you down, you should still be able to find a bright spot in them. When I tell y'all like that is like me for real. I actually used to look at it as a weakness, like um I wanted people to like me, or even that I was just so like dumb and stupid, and and the more that I being honest, the more that I get to know like God, and how he is and how he loves everybody and he sees the best in everybody. To me, it makes sense that even if like I'm mad at you, or I know you don't like me, or I know you said horrible things about me, I can still see something good in you. Like it could be like, oh, I said what I said, she really this like, she yeah, like she like this, but she's a really cool person. Like I will like give you a not give you a compliment, but if I'm speaking about you to someone and like it's like a negative situation, I can't help but speak on what I know to be good about you, even if I'm like really mad. And it may not even be in that moment, like when I'm, upset, but it's like in my heart when I sit back and I reflect on things, it'll be like, you know what? Which is why I kind of feel like it's really easier to let go and not harbor ill feelings toward people like all the time. I'm gonna say like when you're not feeding it, you know what I'm saying? Like when you back up and you're like, okay, I'm like done with this, or I'm not gonna be mad about that. And it's I can still just be like, you know what, such and such does have nice hair. That's what I'm trying to say, y'all. Like that. So I equate that to being that I'm really like a kind person. I'm not like a real hateful, mean and nasty person, because you can really not like me, but I will still be able to see some type of good in you, or even be able to speak on some kind of good in you. And I've just been kind of telling, and it may not even be true, y'all. I'm just telling y'all what I think. It's like, well, you know, it's because I want to be like, Christ like, and not be mean and hateful. So I just can't help but see the good in these people. Do y'all get what I'm saying? No? Okay. Because y'all
Yeah,
real
I
quiet.
get it.
We get it.
Well, we don't
Okay.
interrupt you.
Oh, okay. It's like,
Let me just say this. I was speaking of R. Kelly, and everybody just can't stand R. Kelly right now because of what he did. Yeah, he did that or whatever. But like I
right.
explained to him, you still can't take the music away from him. You can't take his talent away from him. Yeah, he did some horrific things and in the past, but also
Right.
two things could be true at once. He still has a great voice and he's a music genius. And so
Absolutely.
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
and that's what I'm talking about when I say, you can still, find good
Yeah.
in people.
Yes. Then okay. Then I understand exactly what you were saying. And yes, because that's how I feel. Like, it doesn't excuse their behavior. It's almost like we just don't have to tear people down completely and just act like there's no good in them at all. Does that make any sense?
Hmm. Very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted
And
to
there's
add to
nothing
it
wrong
kind of.
with being a cheerleader.
Oh,
I
well,
love
thank you,
being a
Miss
cheerleader.
Alice. Thank you.
Yeah, I love being a cheerleader because I love to see other people doing well, doing something um, to, in essence, make the world a better place, even if it's like a small thing. Um, I think that we should all be cheerleaders for each other. And if nobody's cheering you, cheer yourself.
Yeah.
Mhm. I wanted
I
to
think I'm
add
good
to
at
it,
that.
if I'm able to.
We listening, Joe.
Okay, I didn't know if y'all heard me.
No, no, we
um,
can hear you.
so we were actually, I was actually talking about something like this because there's been some things that I've been going through, and and it was brought to my attention where God tells us not to be foolish, right? And
Hmm.
you know and God does say, we're not to be fools, right? And not foolish. But I went on to study that, portion, because that was very much that it was they gave me the verse, right, of where where it's stated, and it was very much just left at me like that. I mean, when somebody comes and tells you that, it's like, I'm going to leave it right there, and they just leave it. But it doesn't mean that I just leave things, because I always go and I do my own research, and I go on to understand where I am, because I'm at a place where 70 times 7 I forgive, you know and and
Hmm.
and I very much don't feel foolish for doing that. And I wanted to explain it because, in essence, when he speaks of 70 times 7, Jesus is answering and suggesting that we have infinite um forgiveness, right? Emphasizing that we should give grace, but it doesn't mean, in my opinion, that we should um be foolish in it, because we still, boundaries are wise to still have, because forgiving someone, it doesn't mean that we're forgetting the offense at all. It's just giving forgiveness to release it from ourselves. And because I never want to carry bitterness in my heart, and I never want to carry all that unforgiveness, right? And so that's why I agree with what I said. We find what good came out of the bad. And I remember saying that all the time. It's like, yes, we've gone through, just like I mentioned earlier, Miss Alice reminded me, I've gone through so many things that a lot of people, we all have witnessed, a lot of people just harboring things that from their childhood, and they just never get over it. And it's kind of like very frustrating to all of us that they just don't get over it. But hey, if that
Hmm.
person had never brought you onto this earth, then you wouldn't even be here for us to experience you, and she's right.
Hmm.
We have to see every good. There is something good that comes out of everything, and we don't have to harbor that, the ugliness or the bad out of it. And so I agree with all of y'all.
Yeah. That's funny because Joe, I did a live the other day, um saying, I don't know if you heard cause y'all, I'd be so nervous up here all of a sudden. But I was saying that too. Like, I really don't like to harbor ill feelings. I don't like. I honestly don't like being at odds with other people. I know that sounds crazy. Like, if you know me for real, it's like, what, for real? But all jokes aside, y'all, it gives me so much anxiety and, like, you know, um, not shame. What's the word that I'm looking for? Anxiety and, like, it's just really heavy and extra. Like, and it's more so like when the dust, because, like, it's like when you're in action of, like, what, anything, right? And if I'm feeling some type of way, I'm feeling some type of way. But it's like I have these moments where it's like, when I'm there, we go, when everything is still and quiet. There's no chaos, there's no, like, extraness going on, and I reflect on my behavior. I reflect on some of the things I say to people when I'm angry, how I've even made people feel. If I know for sure, I know I've made somebody feel some kind of way, it doesn't feel good. So nowadays, like, in my own household, because y'all know me, I try. I don't even try. I've been doing my best to choose my words carefully. Um, just, and it's really choosing my words carefully, because that can be, the thing that gets me in a lot of trouble. And I do not like, I really don't like hurting other people, even if they hurt me first. And I don't know if that's because, like, my relationship with God now, because but I've also noticed that since I've, taken time out to really have a relationship with him, and I do read the Bible, and I do know the word that, like, if you don't forgive other people, God won't forgive you. And you reap what you sow. How you treat other people is how you'll be treated, or, and to treat people how you want to be treated. There's a lot of self-reflection going on a lot. It can be the smallest thing, which is honestly, y'all, annoying, but at the same time, I'm learning from it, because I personally feel like it's shaping and molding me into a better person, to be not aware, but that's the word I'm looking for, selfless. Because yeah, I would say I'm a little spoiled, and, I can be bratty, and, just inconsiderate of other people at times. But I feel like the more I, build my relationship with God, those things are falling off of me. And it actually feels really good. And it doesn't feel good to mistreat anybody, even if they're mistreating you. And I struggle with that one, because I'm a little childish. But I feel like it's better to be on the Lord's side than to be over there, because, baby, like, that conviction will tear you up. You be trying to ignore it, but I'm a hush.
You were good. You're good.
Miss
So,
Alice, real quick, I was gonna let you know that I have to drop into the chat because I'm gonna go pick up my son. So thank you all for having me. Thank you all for sharing and helping me. You helped me more than you even will know. So thank you all.
thank you,
Thank you,
Joe.
Miss
God bless you.
God
All right.
bless you.
Bye bye, Joe.
Love you, Joe.
Yeah, love you, Joe. Anybody else?
Love you, Joe.
Vaughn, you still talking?
I was gonna say, if they ain't gonna talk, I talk. But, how long we want to stay up here, Miss Alice?
No. I think with you, Vaughn, it shows maturity, and you are, what from what I see, you're headed in the right direction. Don't look back. Keep
Yeah.
going. Keep moving forward. Not to say you're not going to make mistakes. We all make mistakes. But I would advise you, if you do make mistakes, try to make them off the internet, not on the internet. Because
I
the
got you,
internet can be
I got you, Miss
unforgivable.
Alice. I got Miss Alice. I got you. Oh, I got you. I got you.
Good luck with
Listen,
that,
I
Alice.
understand. Look, I understand. Okay, yes, internet can be very unforgiving.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to say, well, good luck with that. But
Praise
Right.
the Lord. The
because
church
if
changes
anybody
things.
bump into her, baby, that's it.
My peer,
Yeah,
my
they step
peer had something to say. He said, "Tell her again."
they step on one toe, baby. That's it, baby. All hope is gone, lost, and forever, ever.
Oh,
But
sis.
you know,
Listen,
I ain't even trying to preach to this little lady no more. I'm just like, girl, gotta do you. Get it all out.
uh, yeah,
Just like
I'm
my
not going
kids.
to.
Yeah, just like my kids, my words mean nothing. You ain't listening.
You
And
know,
I
these young people can be hard headed
right,
at
and I was
times.
tired, boss. I was just tired. Shoot, I just let you do what you do. You'll learn.
I
like my
thank y'all
mom,
for tagging in.
like my mom used to say, when you get through you get enough knots on your head, you'll find out. You'll figure it out when
Mm-hmm.
you get through getting all them knots on top of your head. So
Oh Lord, I'm
you
over here
walking
too
around looking
tickled.
like lurch. But but sometimes it's and I don't want to bring this person up, but we ain't gonna start no conversation about it. But sometimes it's the devil's job to throw you off your game, and that's all we're gonna have to say about him. We ain't gonna have to go into no big tangent about him.
Right.
But sometimes the devil jump into people, and they do that just to throw you off your game to see if they can get you to react. And so it's not something that you're going to learn overnight. uh, Life takes time. It just takes time to learn everything in life. And when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then that's when you learn your lesson, in my opinion, because that's the way I had to learn my lessons. No one is where they're at by not getting a few knots on their heads. you know we've all been
Absolutely.
hard headed. We've all made mistakes, and we're going to continue to make mistakes and be hard headed. We're just not going to make the same mistakes. After you shouldn't make the same mistakes.
Mm.
Um, After once you learn a lesson, then you ought to learn that lesson and move on and try to see if you can find some more. See if you can find some more knowledge instead of lessons. Because life shouldn't have to be a whole lesson for you. At some point, you have to take the training wheels off and grab hold to the wheel and drive like you're supposed to drive, and not be a beginner driver. So I feel like when you're in your 30s or what have you, that's just where you're at. You still have your training wheels on, and you're gonna gear off the road. You're gonna make mistakes because that's what life is all about. So I always tell you,
Absolutely.
time is your best friend, because as time go on, the more you'll learn, and each decade, your eyes, your eyes are open more and more, and it's like you learn more and more. In my opinion, for me, that's the way it was. It's like I thought I knew everything at 20 and 30, but when I turned 40, I realized I didn't know much at all.
Right.
And so and that's how you have to look at life. It's just a learning lesson, and you live and you learn, and that's really a true statement.
I would like to
Absolutely.
thank Alice and I said what I said for passing the baton back and forth and being very supportive. Thank you both. Thank you both.
You're welcome,
I'm
sis.
not
Oh,
even being
Charles
funny.
Angel,
I am serious.
she sounds
It takes a
tired.
village.
You
Huh?
know what?
Say
You
for
know
Charles
what?
Angel, she sound real tired.
Sis, you wrong. You know that? You is wrong.
She
You
do. She
wrong.
sounds like she tired. I'm just saying.
Listen, okay. I would like to thank Miss Alice, okay, for having this wonderful live, okay. I would like to thank all of you, okay, for showing up, all right. Because Miss Alice, we missed you, okay. I know I did, okay. I have to be honest. I missed you so much, okay. I checked your channel every single day to see when you was going live again. And then it was like, Miss Alice going live. She going live. I was running around telling, she going live. She going live. So I'm just excited to be up here. Okay. All that other stuff y'all talking about, I don't know what y'all talking about. I'm just excited to be up here.
Well, thank you for being here, Vaughn. And let me say thank you to everybody who has kept me and my family in your prayers. Thank you for all of the text messages, the emails, whatever you did, even if you didn't say anything and you were praying still. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. One day I may have a testimony to share. Today is not the day, but I can tell you that God is a healer. I can tell you that.
Amen.
Amen.
Anybody else? No? Okay. So thank you, Charlie's Angel. I love and appreciate you, and thank you for birthing a miracle, because she is a miracle. She's just a work in progress, but I tell you, one day we're going to look back and we're going to see just how far she came.
Amen.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to look at the bright side too. So yeah, thank you, Charlie's Angel.
You know what?
Thank you for this explosive miracle. You
And,
brought us.
and we love you too, SBK. Thank you for being a king in our village.
SBK ain't got
That,
nothing to do with this.
well, I wanted to thank him for being a king in our village that supports us. That ain't a
Yeah,
part
yeah,
of
yeah.
the
Hey,
Yes,
Brio,
thank you,
yeah,
drama.
SBK.
you
We
know
love
I
you.
am hollering.
that's all he was looking for, Brio. You know, this is a women's forum, okay? We'll catch
You know I'm
SBK on
gonna
Friday.
celebrate my Libra.
Listen, we'll catch him on Friday, okay, sis?
Listen,
Don't do that to
listen.
him.
All I
SBK
would
know
like
what
to
it
say
is.
is, I have a question though, Miss Alice. Why you call me a miracle? Like, did something
Because
happen?
you are.
I'm be
You don't
quiet.
know
I'm
you
be
a
quiet.
miracle?
No, I'm
Oh,
telling
oh,
you, one day you're going to look back and you're going to say, wow, look at God. I'm telling you, one day. I just pray that I'm here to witness it.
okay. I ain't gonna ask no more questions. Okay.
Okay.
Well,
Just
well,
know
Miss
you a
Alice, I don't
miracle.
feel like
You
I'm
gonna
a
be here. You ain't going nowhere, man.
Alice. I don't feel like I'm gonna be here by that time because it's gonna be a long, 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 long
You know what? I'm gonna go. Sis, why are you doing this?
time.
She
I,
missed
I
you.
think I think the dirt gonna be in my face before I get to find out. I'm gonna have to come back as whatever I'm gonna come back as. I guess a frog or something. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
But whenever that day come, baby, I'll probably have my reflective jacket on by that time. But I'll still be
Lord,
rejoicing by the time I see it. By the time I see it
sis.
happening. But
Look, we need to have a behind the scenes conversation. Me and you. Me and you.
no, 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 thank you, no, thank you. It's been peace. It's been peace in the Middle East. But
I am hollering.
but you know, I feel like you're a miracle because I've told you before. It's not a lot of young people thinking about God the way that you're thinking about Him and the way that you're trying to actually follow God. Most people in their 30s is thinking about themselves and their lives and the struggles that they have to go through. They don't have time to include God or even thank God for even being here. And I remember when I was trying to follow God, when I first started following Him, even though I was, I grew up in church. To me, um, you don't really know a lot about church until you get grown. And yeah, you can sing and clap your hands and say your little Easter speech or whatever, but you don't take that serious until you really, to me, until you get rebaptized as an adult and you really, start reading your Bible and try to follow the word. So, within saying that, I was in my 30s when I really got serious about God. And it's not an easy walk, and it's not an easy thing to do when you at such a young age, especially when everybody else is. You feel like that they're having a good time and they're doing what they want to do, and they don't care about the actions or the words that they say, or they just don't care. They just care about themselves and what they're trying to do. So I feel like that's just a miracle within itself to even, to even acknowledge God at such an early young age. And I'm not saying that you're the only one that is, because there are some, but the majority of the people, they're still partying and, living their best life in their 30s. So um, that's an accomplishment within itself. And so that's why I feel like, you could possibly be a miracle.
She had to throw possibly in there.
Look, well, I appreciate it, sis. Because
Well,
I
that's the
was
best.
like,
That's
what?
the best. That's the best compliment I could give, Alice.
I'm like, what's going on? I'm a miracle. What did I do? Okay, I get it. I get
And
it. I understand.
and you doing your thing. You're a mom, and you're taking care of your kids, and you're doing all the right stuff that you're supposed to be doing. Because we got a lot of young people not even taking care of their kids; they're just throwing them off on their parents or grandparents or whoever they can throw them off on. So
Mhm.
kudos to all of the young people that is trying to walk the walk and talk the talk. So
Well,
Absolutely.
I would just like to thank y'all. This is Women's History Month, and I feel that really all of y'all, Miss Alice, I said what I said, Joe, Abril, Senna, um, oh Miss Wanda, oh Miss Tina. I feel like all y'all have been very I just got to be honest. Y'all haven't just been inspirational, but I feel like y'all have like really supported me. And when I was saying earlier, like women being overlooked, I can't say that because I feel like I kind of attracted what I'm used to in real life as far as women supporting each other here on the internet. And I know y'all are older than me, and I know I like laugh and joke, and I be acting like I ain't taking nothing serious, but I really do learn a lot from all of y'all. And y'all know my mom, I talk to her like every day. So even if I want to try to, get away and, go to the wide, path, it's like, no, we go stay over here on the narrow path. And it's not by force, it is by choice. And I agree with you, sis, it's not easy. And I just appreciate everybody, who really is supportive and who also believe in God. Because I feel like without y'all being really good examples, not just on the internet, but in real life, I really wouldn't have nobody to look up to, So I appreciate y'all and I love y'all. And I think this was a great idea, Miss Alice, to do a women's panel because
Amen.
I love each and every one of y'all
Amen.
for real.
We love you.
And I hope I didn't miss nobody. If I missed somebody, I'm so sorry. Charge it. What is it? Charge it to your head and not my heart.
yeah,
But
Right.
but I just want to say
yeah.
you say you love Joe, but you didn't even say her name. So I'm gonna just go back on mute off of that.
See?
I did say Joe name.
No, you did not.
I did it. Well, look, I love Joe. Look, see now E and
Yep.
who else?
E,
Okay,
Senna,
yeah. Senna, yep.
Wanda,
Yeah,
Millie,
I said them. Yep.
Millie.
That's what happens when you start saying names.
Right.
You know what,
You
Miss
should
Alice,
have.
I'd
You
be
should have
like,
just said that.
Lord.
Joe,
You should have just said
Miss
everybody.
Wanda.
Uh-huh.
I
Just say,
love everybody.
yeah, there you go. Just say I love everybody, child. That includes everybody, so you don't nobody have to feel left out. But at the end of the day, us as women, we do we need to hold each other up a little bit better than what we do instead of trying to tear each other down. Because it's so easy as a woman to be jealous of each other. Because jealousy is just natural for women. These days seem like it's natural for men too. So
Okay.
I've just
Got
ain't never
ugly,
seen.
bro.
Yeah,
Child, ooh, that's another panel for another
yeah,
day. That's a
Yeah.
good panel
yeah,
for another day.
these new ninjas is something else these days, and so they just they different. That's all I got to say. They're different now. So like jealousy is easy for anybody to have or what have you. But we all have to remember that God give everybody gifts and talents, and what He have for you is for you, and what He have for me is for me. And so you can't be jealous or envious of anybody or because of something that they you know can do naturally. Even though I'm jealous of everybody that have a nice singing voice, I still want that voice, but that's not what He wanted me to have. And
You can
so
pretend God knew how you would act if you did. He knew
yeah.
it.
Yeah, He knew I was gonna show all the way out if He gave me a singing voice. He knew I wouldn't go out. He knew I'd probably be trying to pursue my career, forget the family and everything. I probably would just went real crazy with it. Even though it would have been a mediocre voice, I would have been trying to be on Broadway or whatever. Y'all don't know. But at the end of the day, He give us all gifts and talents, and there's no reason for us to be jealous of each other because we all can learn from each other, and what do you call it? Bounce off of each other. So we all can share gifts and talents and
Absolutely.
help one another out. And there's no need to be jealous of anybody because everybody got something that they can do.
Right.
Absolutely. And us older women, we shouldn't be too proud to not listen to younger women because a lot of
Amen.
times we can learn from younger people as well.
Mm-hmm.
Even
Most
though we
definitely.
learn based on our life experiences, there's a lot of things that younger people can still teach us. And sometimes we can be so, I don't
Stubborn.
know what word to. I was
Stubborn.
going to say stubborn, but I was thinking of another, trying to think of something else to say. But
Know
sometimes
it
we can be
all.
so, yeah, so much of a know-it-all that
Yeah.
we're not even willing to listen to younger people. But they can teach us some things, really, and not necessarily just technology, but a lot of things to do with technology. We can learn from these young people because they are very good.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A lot of them are very
Absolutely.
good at the technology.
Yeah.
You know what, Miss Alice, that just reminded me of something. My okay, remember when I said, like, now that I'm like an adult female, and I'm being a part of the village that raised me, but also like helping them, like iron sharpening iron. A lot of times when I call my mother, y'all, she blesses me. I don't even think she know this. I don't think I ever told her this. I haven't. Okay, so listen. It touches my heart that, like, we can talk woman to woman, mother to mother. Of course, I ain't none of her little friend, but friend to friend, experience to experience, because um it's like it lets me know that even when I'm okay, y'all, it actually helps me feel not in a rush. That you never stop growing, um and that somebody understands where I'm coming from, and she respects me enough to hear my opinion, or, and I'm not necessarily saying advice, because I don't think my mother ever asked me for advice. I think I just started talking. But it when she listens, she's actually listening. And like when you're young, when you're a kid, you never think you'll have that relationship with your elders. So like I think y'all all know what I'm talking about. Like when you reach that age where you're talking to your aunts, or um your older cousins, that was like, or what I'm saying, like those older women, and y'all are having conversations as women. And they're actually listening to you. And you're not um blowing off what they're saying. You're actually taking in the wisdom and the experience. I think that is such a blessing. And I also think it's wonderful that my mother thinks enough of me to actually listen to me, if she doesn't know something, or she wants to learn more about something, or if we're just talking and she's just actually listening. I think it's wonderful. And I feel the same way about y'all when I'm talking to y'all, that like y'all actually are listening to me. And it's like, oh my goodness, they're listening to me. But I don't think about it like that in the moment. I think about it afterwards, like when I hear Senna say like, "Oh, Vaughn said," or Bro say, "Well, Vaughn said," or even I said what I said, Miss Howard, "Well, Vaughn," it'd be like they be listening to me. So I actually I like that a lot because it makes me feel heard and just a little respected, even though I am y'all younger than y'all, even though I want to be y'all friend, but y'all know what I'm saying. I'm gonna be quiet.
Well,
You're
anybody
my
can
niece,
bring.
Vaughn. You're not my little friend.
Here we go. Here we
And
go. Here we go.
and anybody can bring you some, anybody can bring knowledge to you, or give you knowledge, or you don't, no one person know everything, or sometimes you're outdated and you just don't know. And so that's what the younger generation is for, in my opinion, is to help me, stay on top of my game, because at a certain point, some of your game starts slipping. Okay. It is what it is. And I can give you an example of that as far as with clothes and dressing. At a certain point, you don't know what's in style and what's not in style. So that's what you have your kids and nieces and nephews for, to help you out. Even my daughter was giving me advice. I didn't want to take it, but Minion took it. She was like, "Well, that I know you love that song that y'all have, but it's too long. Y'all need to shorten that introduction song." So I just told me, "You don't listen to her. I love that song." But he was like, "Oh, but we're gonna have to change the song." And I'm like, "I know you're not listening to my daughter." And he's like, "Well, she might be right."
That right there is exactly what I'm talking
He said
about.
she might be
You
right.
and me.
Yeah. And so, sometimes, the younger generation can teach you, and they know better than you.
Yeah.
It's the things that we know better than them, but it's also things that they know better than us. So there's nothing wrong with listening to someone that's younger than you, in my opinion.
Yeah. And you good for that because you do kick it with Minion and and we have a good time, and she respects us and we respect her. And I think sis is real cool for that. Like really cool for especially for being my friend. So, whatever.
I second that. Mhm.
Yeah, thank God for the young people. They actually keep us young.
Yes, they do.
And they do have a lot of wisdom. Um, I think they have a lot of wisdom, and a lot of times their wisdom isn't even unlocked until they realize that they have something to contribute, but they have to have the space for it. The space has to be created for it, for them to even realize, I do know a little something. Or um, in my case, what Vaughn was saying, I was sitting here and I'm just a grinning, and I'm like, wow, because when my children were little, I always told them that I would listen to them. I would believe them if they told me something. And then as they got older, I realized that, um, children see what we don't see. No matter how old they are, they're still our children, but they see things that you don't see. So they have the benefit of that wisdom. So that is why it was easier for me probably than most people to listen to my children. Like they've known me, of course, their whole lives, and they can see things that I might not realize for myself. And I'm like, well, Mama, no, just relax. I remember one time I was telling her, and it was something very simple, but I didn't even think of it. And it was a relief like, this new world with technology and everything. I grew up in the era where we were getting into technology, but I was thoroughly frustrated with people and seeing things and the things that they were saying. And she's like, you can just take a break. And I'm like, wow, yeah, I can, duh. Um, but just allowing the younger generations to speak their voice and to get a hold of their wisdom. That's what I'm trying to say. For them to know that they do have the wisdom is one of the greatest benefits we can give them by listening to them. They got to practice
Absolutely.
it at some time.
Absolutely. And on the flip side of that, it makes me feel good to know that my children actually listen to me and do some of the things that I, instilled in them. And it just let me know all my hard work wasn't in vain, because so many times
Amen.
your
Amen.
kids,
Hey, Mookie.
you want your kids to do what you raise them to do, but a lot of times they don't do it the way that you want them to. So for me to see the growth in my children and to see them um, do use some of the tools and skills that I instilled in them makes me feel good. And they do just like Bond. Well, you told me to do this and you told me to do that, and that actually make me feel good that they actually listening to me, because so many times you feel like your kids are not listening to you because you have to constantly grill the same thing in their heads over and over and over again as they're growing up. And sometimes you don't feel like that they got the message, but after a while you see that they actually got the message. And so it seemed like for me and my daughter, it's like she fought so long and hard not to be like me, but now she's just like me.
Oh,
And even
oh,
and
yeah.
yeah, and she says that, she said, I never wanted to be like you, but I'm just becoming you every day more and more. I'm like, well, I don't know who else she's gonna be like, because I was the one that raised you.
Right,
You
I
didn't have
said what
any
I
other
said.
examples.
Sis.
Huh?
That's what my oldest daughter told me a couple days ago. She was like,
Yeah.
you got on my nerves when we were growing up. But she said, and I was trying to be different, but now I'm happy that I am just like you. I didn't want to be, but now I'm happy that I am. So those moments be meaning something.
They do. It just like all of my work wasn't in vain.
Okay,
I
so
agree.
God is good.
SBK
sis
showing off,
opened the
y'all.
door. Yeah, I see Miss Alice, but sis opened the door. Yes, I agree with sis. I have told my mother I didn't want to be like you. I am just, well, not just like my mother, but I am just like my mother. And every day more and more I'm becoming more and more like her. My mama don't like a bunch of mess and loud noise and extraness.
Right.
And little by little, the Lord is changing me from being this extra wild person. And I'm enjoying it. And I'm like, wow, I'm becoming like you, Mom. I tell her that often. And I even
Hallelujah.
have apologized for, like sis said, trying so hard, to do things my own way, and I'm grown and woo woo woo, and it just wasn't worth it. Just listen to your parents, okay? So you ain't got to apologize because you're gonna apologize. You're going
Bon,
to apologize.
Bon, and you
Don't
look
worry,
and
I do
sound just
too.
like her.
Well, thank you, sis.
Don't feel bad. I still call and apologize to my mother. So I believe it's a rite of passage.
It is. It's a rite of passage, and we all, I really wish I could call my mom and tell her, I'm sorry or thank you, and I feel like I did it a lot while she was, still here, what have you. But unfortunately, I just didn't have her, a long, long, long time, but I had her long enough to show me the way. So, and I just thank God for the time that I did have, and I just think it's just so cool, you know, um, to just even be open to the fact that your kids, could actually direct and guide you. And if we all honest with ourselves, um, at the end of the day, our kids are the ones, we take care of them in the beginning, but in the end, a lot of times they wind up taking care of us,
Amen.
you know.
So
So
true.
so it's like a cycle, it's just a big circle that you have to go through. And so you better start trying to if you got any tensions with your kids, or if you and your children are not getting along, it just may be the age that the kids are at, or the age that you are at, but everybody better try to make some changes, because you're definitely gonna need each other. And one day those kids that you can't stand today may have to help you get a cup of water, later on down the line. So I just
Absolutely.
want to leave that with everybody.
Come
You
on.
could start out by asking them to get you that remote control.
Yeah, and try to be a little nicer to them, because
And some tea.
because they may not treat you bad or nothing, but they sure may take their time by giving you that remote control.
No, I'm saying when you're younger, when
Yeah.
they're younger,
Yeah,
you teach them, come here,
bring
do
that
this, do
remote.
that. Yeah, you get that in their psyche. So
Yeah,
But,
call them from
I tell
outside.
mine. I
Call
tell
them from
mine to give me
outside
a
and
cup of ice.
right. My mom,
Yeah, that's
my mom
true.
used to burn me up. She used to burn me up. Because we had a screen door, and we be all down the street. She'll holler out the screen door, "Y'all come, one of y'all come here," and call our name. Give me a cold glass of water. I'm like, you 5 steps away from the refrigerator. I gotta come all the way from down the street just to go get you some water. But it is what it is. But I didn't have that luxury of taking care of my mom, but it seemed like I had the luxury of taking care of other, my auntie and my father, and other people that I never thought I was gonna have to have a hand in. So it does help to take care of people and treat them right while you can, because when you can't, somebody gonna have to take care of you one day. Even if it's not your family, you may have to go to one of them places and let them people take care of you. So it's
Yeah,
best to
treat
try
your
to
family right, so you don't have to
Yeah.
do that.
so you don't have to. Well, actually, I'm gonna prefer to go. I told them take me up there. I don't really want to be at the kids' house.
You may have better ones down there where you live, but not up here.
I'll say not up here. You don't want to go up there.
No. But I would
Yeah.
say, to piggyback on what you were saying,
Mhm.
one of the best gifts we can give our children is a good example. That's one of the best things that we can do for our children, to give them a good example. And even if you mess up, you can be honest and say, I messed up, but I'm striving to get it right. And even if you can't go back and make changes, just be honest, because none of us are perfect. But if we can give them that good example, they'll come back. And even if they're not listening right now, they'll come back and they'll thank you for being that good example.
I'm a witness.
So does anybody else have anything they want to add to this conversation? Thank you, ladies, for joining the panel and for giving some very important points of views, and acknowledging the wonderful women in your lives. I think that we should continue to give people their flowers. Anybody else?
Well, I just want to say we have reached the 2 hour and 4 minute and 31 second mark. Miss Alice ain't changed none. She rests to go.
I just love our tribe, and I'm happy that we got us. So I
Thank
hope
you,
all enjoy the
Brill.
rest of our day.
And I'm happy to hear from Abril. I haven't seen you in a minute.
Yes.
Yes.
It's just glad.
I love
I'm
her on
glad-
the panel.
I love you guys, and I miss you guys too. I'm almost back. Thank
Okay.
you.
And I'm
Almost.
glad to see you back, sis.
Thank you, sis.
Yes. We love you, Abril.
And you too, Alice. Glad to see you back as well.
Right.
Yeah,
And we
God,
was missing
God is
you,
good.
Alice.
Yes,
But,
he
but all
is.
of y'all did lead the scene at the same time. So You know, I kind of felt kind of lost. I had to go listen, I thought y'all was gone, so I went and found some new friends. So it ain't like I found me a whole new tribe since y'all didn't want to hang around or whatever. But I'm gonna still keep y'all, you know, around. But I do got some new friends that I've had to go and visit and kick it on their lives or what have you, because you know y'all was gone.
let your new friends know that you belongs to us. So.
I was gonna say, I don't
Tell
care
her,
who
girl.
these people are. I'm your
Tell her.
friend, and no, y'all can't have her, okay?
And
Because I
y'all
see one
know
of them
how I
people
am.
trying to be your friend.
Yeah, you know how I
Mhm.
am. I don't meet strangers, so they like I said what I said. I'm like, hey y'all,
Mm-mm.
what's
Look,
going on?
we can share we can share, but you belong to us.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Abril,
meet
I
them.
disagree. I
We
disagree.
meet them
I ain't
first.
sharing her with nobody. I don't know who these people are. Now let
Well,
me
you know,
stop.
y'all schedule still take precedence, but I just want to let y'all know if y'all see me somewhere else that you know it ain't nothing. You know, it ain't nothing. It's just you know.
They're not your friend until we check them out.
That part, Miss Alice, that part,
That
because
part.
one of them trying to be her friend.
Right.
I said,
Look,
sis,
we over here side
people
eyeing
try.
folks.
Look, y'all. I said, people trying to take you away from me. I can't have this now.
The devil
I
is a
can't
lie.
have this. But no,
You
I
know,
love y'all.
I don't like to toot my own horn, but I was here first. I said what I said.
Period.
right, Al. So I remember you were first. I knew you before I even knew Vaughn. So
Wow, y'all see how they just be doing stuff? Y'all, is
there
that my
go
peer?
there go one of my new
Look,
friends. Hey, Stash.
Charlie's Angel. This is my peer. We have the same birthday,
Oh
and
God.
we were born literally the same day in 1994. I think I'm older than him, or he older. I don't know. But this is my peer. Peer, say hello to Charlie's Angel, okay? Say hello to the panel.
And talk to
Hello.
her about that because she super excited about her new friend. You know, so
Hey, Stash.
I can't have no
Congratulations
friends.
on your growth.
But yeah, I've been hanging out with Stash also. He's one of my new. I've been having
Stash
Stash
is all
can't
conversation
right.
have
with.
you either.
He's okay.
He's okay. Yeah, see, Miss Alice said you can't be friends with him.
I was
Mm-mm.
actually subscribed to his channel before he even came before the rest of y'all knew him. I don't know how I heard
Oh,
about him,
so
but he was with somebody and
Miss Alice know a lot of people.
you knew you knew LL Cool J Jr. before we did, huh?
I usually I've watched him from the bushes, but I've been around for a while. Him. Yeah. Yeah, I do know a lot of people. I do. That's a good thing.
Joe know a lot of people too, but Joe met me. Joe saw me on one of my new friends' lives the other night because she couldn't sleep. So yeah, I was like, oh, so these one of Joe friends too, huh? So Joe over here.
Yeah, Joe, Miss Alice, SBK, Abril knows a lot of people. I thought I knew a lot of people. Now y'all know more people than me. Really. Yeah, y'all know a lot of people.
Well, I know Bria know a lot of people. She got 20K, so I know she knows a lot of people.
Yeah, Abril knows a lot of people.
Okay. Any
Well,
final
ladies,
words, y'all?
I was just gonna say, well, ladies, it has been lovely. Thank you for having me, Alice. And you all
Thank
have a
you.
good evening.
You too. Thank you
And you
so much
too.
for joining.
Bye, Charlie's Angels. Have a great day.
Have a
Love you,
good
sis.
night. Well, I'm gonna piggyback off her and say, Miss Alice, you know, I missed you more than everybody on the panel, everybody in the chat, everybody in the
Not
bushes,
too much, Vaughn. Not too
everybody.
much.
Not okay. But you heard what I said, okay? So just know, you know, when you gone, I miss you the most. All right. And I'm so glad you back. And I just love you so much. You know,
I
a
love you
whole
more,
lot.
Vaughn. Thank you.
Well, Alice, I miss you more than Vaughn. since she's already said her goodbyes. But thanks for the show. It's been fun. It's been great. I enjoy talking to other women and trying to help uplift each other and to hear everybody's story. And once again, I am glad to see you and Abril come back. Y'all was much missed while y'all had while y'all did y'all brief absence, and Miss Jealous couldn't take it, so she decided to leave when y'all left. And so, because nobody can outdo her. Then she decided to come back a couple days before y'all came back, just so she could beat y'all. So I guess Charlie's Angel still has some work to do. That's all I got to say about it. But anyway, it's been fun. It's been great. And
thanks, Jamila.
Y'all just take care of yourselves.
You too. Thank you so much. I love and appreciate you.
Love you, Lily.
Love all of you guys.
Don't forget about the baby's birthday, y'all. Okay?
And won't.
I'm going to say something tomorrow, too, even if it's just a post. Okay? Yes, Jamila. Yes, I am.
Period.
Go ahead, Abril.
That's our baby.
That's right. We've adopted her. Any last words, Abril?
I love you guys. And like I said, I'm about to be back. And thank you guys so much for your prayers and your support. And I just love you guys. And I mean that, not just saying it either. And every single person in that chat. So you guys, let's continue to grow and mold and shape each other because we're doing it right. Let's just keep going.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining
All right.
for adding to the panel.
Okay. Bye, y'all.
And with that said, I want to thank everybody who showed up. First of all, thanks to everybody who was on the panel. Vaughn, Joe, Charlie's Angel, I said what I said, Abril, and unfortunately, Shanice was having issues with her internet service because she's having bad weather where she is. So keep her and those around her in prayer, please. And thank you to everybody else who showed up in the chat. First of all, thank you to those who were here and just listen in from the bushes. I appreciate your support, continuous support for this channel. Miss Buckeye, thank you. Janice, thank you. SBK, my peer, thank you. Jamila, I love you. Give the baby a hug and kiss for me. Thank you. Wanda, thank you, Wanda. Sean, I think this is my first time seeing you in our chat. Thank you for coming. Potara, thank you. Beautiful Senna, thank you. John Wasbach, you're new as well. Thank you. Mookie and Stash, thank you all for being here. And to those who may be listening or watching the replay, thank you. Please don't forget to leave a comment after the live so that I'll know that you were here. And with that said, remember that God loves you even more than I do. And I really do love you all. Prayerfully, Monday, I'll be back. And not sure what I'll talk about, but we'll see how that goes. Thanks again for all of your prayers, all of your love, and all your continuous support. We are almost at 2,000 subscribers, and I want to thank each and every one of you, especially those who are just coming to the channel. I appreciate you all. With that said, don't forget to be a blessing as you are being blessed.